Hey, g'day everyone. My name's Gavin. I'm here with Matt Henley, an entrepreneur, a great husband, a great man who helps others, a business owner. Hey, welcome, mate.
Thanks, Gav. Good to be here.
Mate, and you're a Gold Coaster. You're an Australian in Queensland. Mate, can you tell us what was life like prior to being involved in the Man Alive experience?
Oh, mate, it was a busy time. It was I've had a lot going on in my life for many, many years, like a lot of people. A very busy business, a very, challenging workplace and yeah, been through a whole lot of different things, but I, by and large, was just feeling completely stuck in the mud, overwhelmed, no energy, and a bit lost, mate. Like I just couldn't see my way out of my own thinking. Really, I'd run out of all resources, so my best thinking wasn't working anymore. Wasn't enough.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, mate, because you're only a young bloke in your 40s, but I remember you talking about when you're in your 20s, when you first started working for yourself, and I suppose from what I got, it was a mission, you wanted to become a business owner, you wanted to employ people, gain assets, and you did all that, mate. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Look, yeah, I remember Mum saying to me when I was a teenager, she said, "Geez, you're gonna have to get yourself a good job. You got expensive taste." And so I've always liked having being able to have things and pay my own way, and I feel good when I can support other people, And so from an early age, when I was able to, secure an apprenticeship as an electrician, and then I had the opportunity came along. Even I was actually still a fourth year apprentice when I started my business, would you believe? So yeah, I couldn't wait, and I got the opportunity there, and so yeah, it was I hit the ground running, and it was a busy time, and so I suppose it's I haven't come up for air since, Gav. That was 23 years ago, something like that. So yeah.
and so, mate, what I suppose got you started? What happened? What did you hear? What did you see in regards to our, the Man Alive experience? Because I remember that first conversation we had, but apparently we'd had a conversation before.
Yeah. Well, I knew who you were, and I'd seen you at the Fight Like a Pro 5 years prior. So, and it was probably one of the things that got me was I'd been off social media for quite a long time. I'd been getting a bit it had been bugging me looking at Instagram and things. So I'd sort of logged out of my account and hadn't looked at it for a couple of years. And I sort of logged back in, and I started getting some stuff come through. And of course your stuff came through on the Instagram, and I just saw your stuff, looked at it, and I clicked away, and I bought the book, and then I got the 15-minute discovery call with you, which I'm so rapt you called me. And I think you got me at the right moment, because I was like, take me, I'm all yours. I've run out of tools. I just lost my old man. I'd lost my mum probably 14 years ago. So but I really took it hard with the old man, because he was like my best mate, my role model, my mentor. We'd speak on the multiple times a day. He lived here at Tugan on the Gold Coast, and I really admired him. And so when he went, it was I liken it to like having a ship without a rudder. So I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And you can't really rely on your partner, your wife or your fiance to steer you in life, because us men like to be, we pride ourselves on being the leaders, or providing the stability in the home and all that. So for me, I was sort of off kilter, and my business was overwhelming me, and I wasn't keeping up with my health, and I was drinking too much, and just watching myself kind of go down a rabbit hole, and watching yourself do that, but still having to turn up to work and run a multi-million-dollar business and employing people, and it's challenging. And then you're self-medicating to try and fix things, and then mate, it's all bad news from there. So
what was in that book, or what did I say in that 15-minute call that got you to, I suppose, get curious?
Yeah, I needed a foot up the bum, and you didn't necessarily do that. What you did was you showed me that you didn't know me from a bar of soap, but you showed me a commitment that you cared about me, and that you wanted to help me, and that you knew I had it in me to become a better person and find the real Matty. You know, I know it's in there, and I wasn't living my best life. So I suppose what as soon as I spoke to you, I was convinced, you know, that you're the man for the job. I wasn't, you know, it didn't take much convincing, because I already knew within myself, and I think some supernatural power linked us up together, mate. And I'm so glad it did. But I remember reading your book, and you know, for the men that haven't read it, it's a really easy read. It only takes you an hour. That was the rite of passage, and it really outlays in terms that we can all understand some of those, you know, like, for example, every man is an adventurer at heart. You know, that got me, because you know, that's something I hadn't been doing. I wasn't living an adventurous life at all. So that was something that I'd wanted to rekindle. And so some of those pillars that you spoke about certainly got my attention. And then, you know, when you spoke to me about the Man Alive experience, I was really interested, because I didn't think one book was going to help me enough, you know.
No. Yeah, there's some things you can read, and there's some things you have to experience.
Oh,
so, mate,
absolutely.
So what have you been in, about 6 months now on the 12-month program?
Yeah, coming up to 6, yep.
Yeah, right. And feels like a lot longer for some reason, man. You're in everything. It's great.
It's good.
I'm really you helping others. But I mean, mate, what's been, I suppose, the biggest takeaway? Yeah, so far. What have you got out of it so far?
Yeah, look, I liken it to someone's taking the blinkers off. You know, I had tunnel vision, because I think it was survival mode. You know, it was like, you know, I'm getting ambushed every which way. So I just got to get up, get to work, and get home. That's my number one priority, you know, run the business. And I didn't have any capacity, any peripheral vision at all for anything, you know, like meeting new people, socializing. You know, I was in some, doing all the wrong things. And so I suppose the biggest takeaway was the awareness. And slowly over those first few months, the blinkers, like, you know, peeled away, and now it's like, holy hell, look what's out there. And it's always been there. But I never had the ability cognitively to connect the dots and go, if I do that, and then I do that, and then I do that, God, that feels good. And I can just keep doing that, you know. And with the support of the men and yourself, man, I'd never felt such power. You know, I've played a lot of team sport, and particularly AFL footy, but that was only one, you know, you play for half a year and you play for 1 day a week, and the rest you're on your own. But this is 24 hours a day, you know, 7 days a week. I've got this mentorship, this mateship, camaraderie, you know, and it literally is 24 hours a day, because we've got blokes in the UK, the Americas, Ireland, yep, they're everywhere. So, you know, it's very easy to reach out to one of your mates in the group here and have a chat with them, and and of course yourself, you know, providing so much of your time so generously with all the after you know, outside of the group, with the boxing and the sparring and going for a run and all that. I'm very lucky to live here on the Gold Coast with you, mate. I know a lot of the other men, they're itching, they want to get over here. So
well, mate, I reckon we're going to go over there.
Absolutely.
So, and I mean, mate, I just can't, I mean, you just reminded me then of all of us coming together when we're doing that 3-day rite of passage weekend. I mean, what was that like when all the blokes come from everywhere, you know, from literally everywhere in Australia? What was that like?
Mate, I'm going to be very honest. So when it came up that this was on, my first thing was, I don't want to go to that. And isn't that funny? Because I had the time of my life, and I took so much from it. And I think to myself, imagine my actual paradigm let me not go, you know, what I would have missed is just unspeakable. So, you know, it's part of that limiting belief system, and because doing the uncomfortable for me in the past has been something that was off limits. I'd stick to my comfort zone. So, saying yes to the Man Alive weekend, was hard because it's out of the comfort zone. Like I'm shacking up with these random blokes I've never met and getting punched in the head in the boxing ring and then doing all these things. And so you just got to get there, turn up, and then the rest works out for itself. And so, awesome event. And I just hope you do more of them.
Oh, mate, absolutely. And I suppose just maybe I can ask you, and I suppose give some people that are going to watch. And by the way, can you leave this bloke a great comment? He's made awesome, mate. Appreciate sharing your heart. It's fantastic. But when it comes to the Man Live experience, mate, what's the best for you? Is it the closed Facebook group? Is it the couple of Zoom calls a week? Is it the accountability group? Is it like the portal videos that take us step by step through it? I mean, what's best for you?
Yeah, I think all of the above, Gav. But to be perfectly honest, like I'm a pretty private person, so I really do love the fact that it's an invite-only closed group, and so none of the videos or none of the private information that we share is going to be forwarded on or reposted or anything outside of the group. And so that gives me the confidence to be able to open my heart and share. With the other men, what I'm actually going through, because this is what it's all about, is opening up. You've got to open up, take the lid off it, because if we don't take the lid off gently, it's just going to pop. And it's like shaking up a can of beer and opening it. Like it's never good. So you got to open it gently and let it out slowly, and it's about being comfortable and feeling comfortable and having that sense of trust in the group. And there's no judgment. If one bloke's having a good day, there's certainly going to be two or three having a bad day. And that's what I'm noticing a lot. There's peaks and troughs, and we're all on different journeys, all on different pathways. And it's not a perfect linear line. We get grumpy because you're going great, then you'll have a setback. But what I was telling you earlier is when you do have those little setbacks or challenges or whatever, you've got that armor, you've got that tool in you, you've got that ability to deal with it and manage it, knowing that it's going to pass, and knowing that you've got to not just bury your head in the sand or have a beer. You just got to face it front on, tackle it with the new skills you've acquired, and it too shall pass.
Oh, mate, terrific. And I think because this is great, and you can see how you've benefited, and that's great. But I mean, you know me well enough now to know it's got to be about others. Every area, other areas. So I mean, how has that affected your marriage, your health, your business? Has it flowed on there?
Yeah, mate, I'm really glad you asked, because my health, it's hard to rank those, but I'm going to rank my relationships awesome, with Christina. So it was always great, but now it's even greater. And we're setting some really great goals together, and we're actually working together now on common goals. Whereas I think before I was off doing my own thing. And so we've unified our belief systems in regard to where we want to end up, or what we're working towards. My health, mate, I haven't felt this great for a very long time. And it really reminds me of when I was in my 20s and feeling resilient, feeling healthy, fit, strong. I'm doing all those little things. I'm not Chris Hemsworth yet, but I'm working on it. But no, look, I'm running, I'm doing lots of training, and the best thing, I haven't had a drink for from the day you asked me you challenged me. You said, mate, because I said to you, I want to stop drinking, Gav, and you said, well, how about you just stop drinking? You made it so simple. I was going to complicate things by, only drinking on the weekends. And you said, I'll make it really easy. You just don't have another drink. And I went, you're on. And I haven't had a drink since that day, the very first day I spoke to you.
That's awesome.
So that's relationship, health, and this is how I'm sort of prioritizing, and work. Well, if those two things are good, generally your work's going to be good. So tick, tick, tick. And I'm very fortunate. I find it a little bit hard to, I do find it a little bit hard to be open and admit things are going good, because I know there's a lot of blokes suffering, and I just want them to know that, you just got to put the work in and try and,
I think also, and I'd love you to tell everyone what you said to me before about the increase in your business. Because because, mate, this is about inspiration. This is about inspiring people.
Yeah.
This is about lifting people's, I suppose, their expectations up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, mate, give us both barrels.
Well, look, what I said to you earlier was I literally we've just finished, the first financial year quarter of this year. Yeah. Well, we finished it in September, but I actually did in that first. So I joined the group in June, started June. Yeah. So I actually did 90% of my revenue in that first quarter from the year before. Does that make sense? So, and I put that down to the fact that I was on point. I was showing up, I was committed. I was having better discussions with my clients. I was going into meetings with a much stronger, confident mindset. I was basically able to, when they come at me to deflect, when they came at me to, drop prices and whatnot and hustle, I was able to deflect it by just saying, look, this is what it is. I don't negotiate. These are my rates. We're not in the business of competing. We create, and so with my new mindset, I was able to sort of flip that on its head and I guess increase profit, increase revenue. And because I'm feeling healthier, I'm showing up in a much better way. So that's also attracting, better results. So yeah, it's pretty crazy number there. It's been a big start to the year. And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I was still under the weather, drinking too much and not feeling fit and healthy and with a negative mindset. So yeah, it's just it's just incredible change for me, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah.
And mate, I don't know if you remember or not, but I remember when I said to you about investing in yourself, investing in this man life experience. And I don't know if you remember, I said the investment will come out of your increase. So mate, how good is that? And some.
Yeah. And some. Yeah. Like most men, I balked at the thought of having to spend money on myself. Isn't that funny? You put money into your vehicles and your all the other things that you spend money on, but when it comes to spending money on yourself, you think don't need to, or I can't afford it, or there's always a reason. But I'm so glad we got over that hurdle, mate.
Wow, mate, unbelievable! What an interview! I could just keep going all day, mate.
Let's do it.
but hey, mate, really, I want to say a massive thank you for coming on here today, because I know you're busy. You're 4 times in your business.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I know you help a lot of other men. I remember you saying, how many men have you employed over these years?
Yeah. Close to 150. Yeah.
That is phenomenal, mate. So you're helping and leading a lot of people.
Yeah. Put a lot of apprentices through, and they've gone on to start their own businesses and buy houses, and so we stimulate the economy, don't we? So
great, mate. You're changing the world for some people.
Yeah.
So, mate, there's going to be a lot of men that are going to say, "Man, I want to be like Matt." What am I, mate?
Careful what you wish for.
You're inspiring people, mate. What would you say to those guys who were maybe like you were? Just a bit maybe tired and maybe a bit stuck.
I'm glad you asked, because I just wanted to quickly rewind back to when I first met you, Gav, and that was at one of the Gold Coast events here in Queensland, and it was the Fight Like a Pro, and it would have been 5 years ago. And a really good mate of mine, Punchy, he was in the fight that night, and he asked me to come along, so I went along, and he put on a great effort, and at the end of the show, as you know, you got up and encourage all the blokes in the crowd to get up, and if you want to improve and you want to become a better man, and you want to do the rite of passage, then come on down. You say to them, come down into the ring now, and we'll sign you up. And I stood up because I was pumped, and I hadn't even had a beer or anything. I was just like, because I was driving that night, but you got me good. I had the goosebumps, and let me at it. And I've never had a boxing glove on my hand, by the way, but I stood up, and then the old paradigm kicked in and said, don't do that. And so I sat down, and I think I actually, because then he did it, come on, and I got up again, but then the bloke next to me stood up, and that was it. I went, yep, you beauty, he's going, I'm off, I'm off the hook. So in my head, the 2 of us can't go, he's already gone. And then I always think to myself, geez, I wonder if I had done that, like the exponential growth 5 years ago versus now, you know, because I've seen how much I can grow in 5 months. Imagine what I could have done in 5 years. So, you know, anyway, it's called regret, and you talk about it a lot. And like I said the other day, after we had that sparring session, you know, the pain of these challenges and things like that, the pain fades away, but regret will stay with you for life, you know. And I've still got regrets around some financial decisions I made and properties I should have bought on the beach and didn't buy. And, you know, now they've all that, but one of those regrets was not doing that Fight Like a Pro. And so anyway, it's I'm doing the next best thing. So here I am.
There you go. Mate, this is not the next best. This is the best thing.
This is a culmination of how many years, Gav? 20-something years.
Oh, mate, not many, mate. Just a couple of decades.
Oh, come on. He's a 25-year overnight success.
Yeah, that's it. But mate, hey, massive thank you again, mate. This has been so good. And everyone leave me a comment. Hey, share this, invite people, tag them, because I know they'll benefit from them. So, mate, last words. What do you want to say?
Oh, if there's anyone watching who's thinking about doing this, I suppose what I'd say is just give it a go. You know, don't undervalue yourself. There's just, if you've got a family, which you all will, you'll all have if you haven't got a wife or children, you're going to have a sister or a brother or a mother. You owe it to them. You owe it to yourself. There's a better man within you. You just got to get it out, mate. So, yeah, take the step. It's often a hard step, but like Gav says, you'll need binoculars in a year's time to look back and see where you come from.
Yeah.
And it works. Right. It really does. You know, if you put the work in, it works. It's not a magic click your fingers, pay the money, you're sorted. It's one of those things where, you got to commit, do the work, but you'll really enjoy it. Yeah, that's my advice. So, yeah.
Mate, phenomenal. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, mate. Anytime. It's always good to chat, Gav.
Come on.